Hey, welcome to Hearsay. I'm Paul,
And I am Patrick.
and today we're going to be talking about theories, movie theories.
Oh, we're going to go nuts, Paul. We're essentially going to make stuff up. No, no. Yes, yes. Let's make stuff up on the internet, Paul. You had a brilliant idea of let's do something about the crazy, wacky movie theories that people have out there. And while we're at it, which I was all down for, and you're like, and let's come up with some of our own. At which point I thought this could go wonderfully or this could go terribly because I can get a little bit wacky, lest we forget that there's a whole video on our channel where Star Trek and Fast and the Furious are the exact same franchise.
Linked above.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah, so which is we've got Charlie Day on screen now with his red rope string kind of crazy thing. That's the kind of craziness that we're kind of looking at. So this is movie theories. They either link movies that are like not from the same franchise or anything like that together, or they link characters, or they link weird stuff. So that's what we're gonna go to. Like to kick it off, we're gonna jump into kind of some well known ones, and then we'll go into a couple of our own ones. So we kind of we mash together with maybe some other theories, or they're just completely out of the craziness of our head. So we're gonna crash into one, which goes so everybody knows the lovely Home Alone kid, Kevin
Kevin
McCall.
McAllister,
Yeah,
that little psycho.
Kevin McAllister. He created such lovely traps as the blowtorch to the head, the heated elements to the doorknob, and very elegantly, which is displayed on screen, the paint can to the face, which Mythbusters did an episode on, and it turns out that the majority of the things he did was lethal. This is
There you go.
important because the theory is that there is another person who really likes to build traps, and that is Mr. Jigsaw, or from the Saw movies, John. What's his second name?
Kramer, isn't it?
John Kramer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I,
John.
I I love the idea of what was Kevin McAllister when he grew up? Well, it's pretty obvious. He was a psycho who kept building traps and torturing people.
Yep. Like that's pretty much it. It's this cute. Like yeah. So Jigsaw. John also builds traps. It's the idea is that Kevin changes his name and starts building traps under the guise of John Kramer, because nothing like nothing like a small blonde haired kid with a tendency to build deadly traps to become some kind of psychopath.
Well, like let's look at the evidence that makes this one credible. He was abandoned as a child. He was obviously not well parented. Like
No.
it's clear. They went on holidays and were on an airplane when they realized they'd left him behind. Negligence. I'm just calling it what it is. Then he finds not only joy in defending his home, but as you've just described, new and interesting ways to lethally and fatally hurt people. Nothing quite like third degree burns and concussions at best when you're setting up your traps. None of this was just scare them away with popcorn. It was a lot of very lethal stuff. Then you look at Saw. What is the one thing that Jigsaw Kramer? What's the one thing that is the signature there, other than the motivation behind it being retribution and blah blah blah. But the idea that it's complex traps. As a child, you play with Lego, and then you can grow up and build spaceships and be in NASA. As a child, Kevin McAllister wired up a blowtorch. By the time he was an adult, he progressed onto head splitting in half super traps.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It's right there, people. It's right there.
Because the thing is, if you go to Home Alone 2, he does it in a derelict building, and there's nothing but like industrial tools around and stuff like that. So like he always getting the practice in. So this is a common theory that Kevin McAllister is John Kramer from the Saw movies. So there's one of the kind of well known theory ones. The next one is which was this is the one that you wanted to bring up, the Ferris Bueller one.
Oh, Ferris Bueller. Yeah, there's a very popular movie theory that if you watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off closely, you'll see that there's a good chance Cameron, the guy that everybody liked in Ferris Bueller, not Ferris, and not Ferris's girlfriend Sloane, the guy who was very very sad, had a difficult time with his father, um, essentially was living out a fantasy. Ferris Bueller doesn't exist. It's all Cameron's head. Basically Ferris is a figment of Cameron's imagination. Look at the adventures they go on. Look at the things they do. It's all things that Cameron would have thought, if only I could, taking the dad's car, doing all this things. He's not exactly a massive success with the lady, so obviously he's going to imagine all this other great stuff. It's really sad when you think about it that way, but it does kind of make sense. And ever since I heard this theory, and I've watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off way too many times, the more and more I watch it, the more I'm like, yep, if David Fincher had made this, there is no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, it's gaining credibility.
Yeah, and this is essentially what Fight Club ended up being a remake of. It's all it is, Paul. That's it. This is Fight Club without the fighting. There's one is a figment of the other's imagination.
Yeah, like it makes perfect sense. Cameron Ferris is essentially a larger than life kind of person, like in the entire story, and then to be so close friends with Cameron, it makes it more sense that he's a figment, or he is the personality in which Cameron would like to be, the person he would like to be, exactly. Kind of thing. And his imagination is kind of blown up. So it's a real cool, interesting. And then your twist on the bringing in the Fight Club part was really nice.
Oh, it's like this Fight Club is a direct sequel to Cameron's life. So they just recast Cameron as Ed Norton, and Fight Club essentially picks up in his later days. So Kevin McAllister went on to be Jigsaw. Cameron went on to be Ed Norton's character's name, who I can't remember right now. Not Tyler Durden, the other guy. Anyway, Paul, those are the ones, like there's a bunch of ones out there. So we're starting with other people's.
Yeah.
And you mentioned one to me about Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, so there's two ones that we kind of run through quickly. So one of them is Willy Wonka is a serial killer. And the idea is that he's essentially needs to open up his chocolate factory every few years to essentially satiate his lust of killing. And he can only do that by essentially bringing in a select few kids into the thing. And then he kind of kills them in elaborate traps. The evidence for this is the fact that in the original one, there is no extra seat for one of the children. So there's no so like one of the children gets.
He knows how many people are leaving that room.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows, and so that like this is part of the theory. And then he obviously plans to kind of which is just take over, or he's essentially tries to find an apprentice, I guess the idea would be, which is in Charlie, kind of thing, to continue on his work. The other theory, which has become a lot more recent, which links into one of our later ones as well, is that Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory is one of the sites for the cabin in the woods rituals.
Right. Very good.
So like that's the other one, and he whoever survives, Willy Wonka takes on as an apprentice to continue on the work of the site, kind of thing. That's a more newer one that's going on. But yeah, the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory serial killer one, if you look at it in the eye, like as a horror movie, it makes way more sense in a lot of ways. And yeah, so that's a fun little quick one.
And I love the movie just as much, no matter which way you look at it. Gene Wilder, absolute amazing, brilliant talent, kept enough malevolence and creepiness in it to make that film timeless. So without him, this theory wouldn't work, but without him, that movie never would have worked either. Because yeah, it could easily be a Halloween movie.
Yeah, easily enough. So I think we're on to our picks.
Well, actually, Paul, I've got one more. That's the Captain America Star-Lord is a little bit of a, and folks, before anybody says, the other one that's out there that I've heard a bunch of times, and everybody's like, "Oh no, but it doesn't matter because James Gunn's debunked it and said that it's not true." It doesn't matter. It's about having fun with movie
It's a
theories.
fan theory.
Exactly. And the fan theory that Steve Rogers, Captain America, is actually Peter Quill, Star Lord's granddad. The evidence kind of for this is it's beautiful because it's to do with an actress who plays Star Lord's mum, who was also appeared in Captain America: First Avenger. And there's very much a hint that Peggy Carter isn't the only person that Captain America's ever been with, ever. He had a life. He was a man after some super serum. After you hit the gym, sometimes you're going to take advantage. And there's a theory out there that he may have, let's say, gotten along with what would be in 1942-ish Star Lord's grandmother, and that would make Steve Rogers Star Lord's grandfather. And why would that be a thing that would ever happen other than just the same actress? Well, think about it. Star Lord's dad turns out to be Ego, the living planet, who has been trying to create this amazing his progeny all over the universe. Of course, when he's on Earth, he's going to end up picking somebody who has something unique and special about them, and she has some super soldier DNA, let's say. I don't know how to put that. She's in a lineage that involves Steve Rogers being her dad. I got to get that right.
Yeah, her dad.
Yes, her dad. So it does kind of make sense. And the thing that makes sense most of all to me is look at the jaw and the stance. Like anytime those two guys stand around looking cool, they do it in the exact same way. That's a family stance right there, everybody. That's a genetic stance.
Yeah, it does make sense in a way that that the super serum kind of genetics would allow her to be able to give birth to a part celestial. So it makes sense in a kind of like just a nice lineage way, as you say. So it's an interesting one. But it's, as you said, it's a fan theory and stuff like that. It might have been debunked by directors and stuff like that and writers and stuff, but we don't need any of those.
Let's have fun.
So
exactly.
Okay.
So Paul, what's first up from the crazy chest of the Heroes Out Nutballs?
So I mentioned it earlier, Willy Wonka, Cabin in the Woods. So this is Cabin in the Woods. Everybody kind of remembers those cells that held the So this is my theory. The cells are hold all the monsters, and there's a couple of ghosts that we see in there, and we don't understand how because they're made of kind of like glass and stuff like that, because you can see all around them and stuff. Well, there's another thing that also has glass and kind of shows kind of it holding monsters and stuff like that, and that is the glass in 13 Ghosts. So the house in 13 Ghosts is entirely made of like specifically designed spells written on glass, kind of plexi stuff.
Right.
So like it isn't a far-fetched thing to believe that 13 Ghosts is set in the world with Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Because you've got those walls. Sorry, let me just. You've got the cells and you've got the cells that hold all the ghosts and everything, and also all the creatures. And then in 13 Ghosts, you've got all the walls and stuff like that to hold in the ghosts. So it's not a far-fetched thing that maybe the organization that captured the ghosts into the house was using maybe some also known tech from the organization from Cabin in the Woods.
I am, at the very least, Paul, I'm going to support your theory by saying at the minimum they used the same contractor to build some storage solutions. They didn't go to IKEA. None of this Jysk stuff. It was all, we're going to the guys that can do ghost impermeable glass.
Well, that's the idea. The idea is that this glass kind of like cage house thing in 13 Ghosts is just using the same tech from Cabin in the Woods. So
It makes sense, and it does look very modular. So maybe it's an IKEA offshoot, like Casper Solutions from Sweden, and they're like, yeah, would you like a chair called Bjorgensburg, or would you like glass called Demonsburg?
Well, there's also a demon in, or a ghost in 13 Ghosts, which is very reminiscent of one of the ghosts from Cabin in the Woods, which is the
Mm.
Blade one, the one that's meant to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
one of the Xenobites. So in Cabin in the Woods, he's meant to be a Xenobite lookalike from Pinhead. But
yeah.
there's one that looks like that also in which is called I think it's called the Hammer. In 13 Ghosts, because they'll have like
I, I I
zodiacs.
defer to your knowledge on creepy things and their names. I'm usually too busy hiding to find out what they were called.
So yeah, so that's the theory anyway. I don't know if this is a theory. I tried to look it up to see if there was anyone else who also agreed with me. I couldn't find anyone. So let
Oh,
me know if
we're
this isn't an original
we're in so
Hirosai's
much
idea.
trouble because I didn't check to see if any of my theories were original at all. So they could be absolutely out there, and I'm about to claim them as my own. And I have no idea that I've previously seen them somewhere else. So if I am about to steal your work at any point, everybody, it's because I didn't check.
Yeah, that's why I kind of was just like, I'll just look these up a quick, like just to make sure. So
And that's why you're the professional and I'm the guy with the super bright white light today because I couldn't go and fix the other one. So, Paul, I'm digging it. I like I say, they share a universe because they share a contractor. That's a good enough connection to make it baseline believable, and everything on top of that is just a bonus.
that's it. So the next one is one of yours, which is the man
Would you hit me
himself.
with a Bert by any chance?
It would be the Burt.
Good. Well, you see, folks, those of you who don't know me, which shouldn't be too many of you by now, and if you don't, go check out our video archive. You'll learn to both love and be curiously afraid of me. The cool thing about me is I love Burt Reynolds. That's never made me cool. I said cool like it actually was real. It's not. It's the least cool thing in a lot of ways, but it was okay in the 80s. And here's the thing, and there you oh, the lovely picture in his denim flares, good old Burt. He had three movies where I think in the movie lore, they're all the same character. They have different names, but the first one is Hooper, where he's a stunt driver.
Mm-hmm.
And that Hooper stunt driver guy is driving a Pontiac Trans Am. And later on, because Hooper, there's no doubt about it, was going to have trouble with the law. Watch that movie. That is a stuntman who's going to end up on the wrong side of the law. He has to leave Hollywood, get out of town. He ends up in Atlanta. What has he got? He's got driving skills. He's known well for his driving skills in Atlanta. And there he is in Georgia doing a bit of truck racing. And next thing you know, he takes a bet with big and little Enos Burdett to go and bootleg beer from, I'm doing now the whole story of Smokey and the Bandit. But long story short, he's going to go and bootleg some beer with his best friend, Snowman. What does he drive? He drives a Trans Am. It's the same guy. He's changed his name. But I could definitely prove it that in later life, he changed his name again. And it was clear that he was in trouble with the cops for bootlegging. And he has changed his name again. And he's famous as a fast driver in Cannonball Run, where what does he do? He uses his illegal knowledge of what he's been doing over the years running across the country to do the ultimate illegal cross country road race, Cannonball Run. Paul, if you can switch the images with good old Bert and his friend in Hooper sitting in a car. I think you had them both up a moment ago. And Coors Light, or just Coors beer.
Yes, I know.
Big connection here, folks, is Coors. It's very clear to me that Burt Reynolds, those characters that he played are the same person because they have a beer brand. And we all know by now, if you have one beer brand, then you're definitely the same person. Because in Hooper, Hooper drinks Coors. In Smokey and the Bandit, what is he doing? He's going and bootlegging Coors. In Cannonball Run, I grant you, he does drink a beer, and we don't know what variety it is, but I'm going to say it's a Coors. So he has a history of being in trouble with the law. He has a history of drinking Coors. He likes Trans Ams. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is the same character, changing names, running across the country, hiding from the law. If Ewoks live on Endor, you must acquit. Paul, that's it.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's a good. It makes sense a Burt Reynolds character kind of
It's terrible, but
perspective.
I love
It
it. It's
makes
in my head.
it makes sense in the sense that like it's one character. Or Burt Reynolds plays one character that kind of transitions between the thing because he is very similar, and yeah, you do have like Core's slice or Core's beard that also transitions through all of them.
And it's clear that he's running from state to state, changing his name, hiding from the law. Like one whole film is about him crossing state lines, doing legal things.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
There you go. It adds up, Paul. It adds up. Also, it is partially down to the fact that Burt Reynolds did just keep playing the same character there for a while. No matter what they wrote, he's like, yeah, sure, I'll show up and I'll be Burt Reynolds.
Makes sense.
So yeah. Paul, we don't have time to go to another one, I think, before the ad break, if that's okay, because we're going to run.
I don't think so. So, which is we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds. Which is with some more of hopefully our own theories, movie theories. Which is while we're doing the advertisement, which goes, why don't you put in some fan theories of your own that you also like in the comments, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds.
You obviously like two people talking about movies, or you wouldn't even be seeing this ad. Well, don't tell anyone. But Hear Us Out isn't the only choice. You should check out our friends over at It Takes Two podcast. It's a podcast where two people take two films with the same plot or premise, watch it and discuss them. Films like Gremlins and Critters, or The Truman Show on EdTV. Lisa and Nick don't stop there though. They get creative and compare some unexpected movies. Some that you don't see the connection until you realise that they can be described in the same way. They launch new episodes every second Tuesday, or Monday if you're in New Zealand. Find them on your favourite podcast service, or check the link in our description down below. That's It Takes Two podcast. Tell them Hear Us Out sent you.
Hey, welcome back. Which goes, we are Hear Us Out, and we're doing fan theories, fan movie theories. Some of them being our own, some of them not being our own, some of them maybe being in between, and maybe like we just have a hive mind with some other people. So,
I did no research, Paul, on any idea that I came up. So I will reiterate that apology. Anybody out there is about to get into the comments and go, that theory's been around for years. You didn't come up with it. Good. Just goes to show you that I tried to do this on paper and didn't Google. There you go.
It just means that you have a hive mind.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen that the Nightmare. So Jack Skellison, Victor from Frankenweenie, and which is the other guy from Corpse Bride are actually the same person.
So it's from the comments. Nightmare Before Christmas is fun. Victor from Frankenweenie and the Corpse Bride is the human form of Jack. Right?
Yeah.
I have not seen Frankenweenie.
It's about
I love the name.
It's about the guy's dog passing away and then coming back. So it's the same dog as well.
And I'm guessing it's a dachshund.
Yeah.
It's a wiener dog.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's very similar kind of thing. So, there's the similar dog is in all three, and Victor, the main male character in all the films, it also seems to be kind of linked together. They're very tall, very slender, and very kind of creepy. So
there you go.
I like that one. I've always liked that one. So the next one is partly made of an existing one, which is my one, which is everybody knows the Tyrell Corporation from Blade Runner. They are the ones that say genetic replicants more human than human. We know for a fact that they are linked to the Alien universe because in Aliens, when it brings up the profile of the captain of the Nostromo, it said that he worked for Tyrell Corporation at one point, which is in his history. So that's
definitely in universe.
So that's the thing. So the Alien universe and the Blade Runner universe are linked. So this is going to be a bit of a stretch, which is, but in excuse me,
Oh,
In
I love it. This one's going to be so far of a stretch that you had to clear your throat before doing it.
Yeah, so in Blade Runner, their whole idea is making robots or replicants that aren't allowed on Earth. And the main character, the main replicant in Blade Runner, the original one, talks about how he's seen ships off the shoulders of Orion,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
being attacked. Which is, but so in Soldier, the Kurt Russell film,
Yes.
Todd's service record notes the Battle of the Shoulders of Orion.
Very nice. Very nice.
So you can see,
that's definitely a nod. So that means nods are in universe also. This is picking up speed. It's about to become canon.
yeah. So, Shoulder of Orion battle, which is so, and then in Soldier we have genetically modified super soldiers, which could also be referring to as the replicants from the Tyrell Corporation. So I have no idea if anyone else has brought this up. I thought it was a fun little one. If
Well,
they have, great.
How dare you call it a theory? How
Like-
dare you call something this watertight a theory? My God, man. It's
So
right there.
yeah, I thought it was that the Soldier movie, Aliens, and Blade Runner were all linked together, which is in the trifecta.
That's the part I love, because you link Alien to Blade Runner, but when you link Blade Runner to Soldier, all of a sudden that means you've also linked Soldier to Alien.
Yeah,
So Kurt Russell technically is in the Alien Ridley Scott universe somewhere.
yeah. So the idea is that Soldier and Blade Runner happen at the similar time, and then which is Alien is the future, where which is where the Tyrell Corporation still exists, and it also makes sense because the androids that are on board ships and stuff like that would be similar to the replicants and also the genetically modified super soldier kind of guys.
There you go. It's watertight, Paul. That's it. That is no theory. That's just a telling of fact.
Yeah, and pop culture also refers that Alien and Predator are also linked. So Predator would also be in this world universe as well. So Alien, Predator,
fantastic. That's true.
Yeah, Alien, Predator, Soldier, and Blade Runner are all grouped together now.
And there have been people who have tried to suggest that RoboCop is in a shared universe with both Alien and Predator for other fairly weak reasons that I don't think we should bother going into. But technically, it could all be one massive universal timeline.
Yeah.
God, it all makes sense, Paul.
This
it all
also
makes sense now.
This is also real funny because the only reason that this came up to me was I watched Soldier literally like the other day. I watched it on Tuesday and I was just looking at the service record and saw the Shoulders of Orion and went, huh, that's kind of like, you know.
Nice.
So yeah, there you go. That's the Alien, Soldier, Blade Runner, and now Predator, which is theory. I really hope that I'm not the only one who's brought that up.
I don't think we're going to get one that's more comprehensively or more widespread in such a comprehensive way, because there's no denying Alien and Predator. That's completely canon for both of those now, and I think also the Blade Runner Alien connection is pretty damn strong.
Yeah,
and you're making a very strong connection between Soldier. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be topping this for width. Let's say I think this one's a widen.
I'm hoping. I don't know if it's like no. It's probably something that It's probably something that other people have brought up as well. So.
Oh, possibly, but the crap I'm about to come up with, Paul, is not going to be in that league. So choose at your peril. I can't remember which was next.
The next one is the Enterprise.
Right. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, hang around for Enterprise, the Star Trek TV show that up until recently I liked the least and didn't watch all of. But there's Captain Archer, played by the wonderful Scott Bakula. Well, for those of you that didn't bother watching Enterprise, some of you, I cannot blame you as a massive Trek fan. I had my issues. But think of it this way. Scott Bakula, Captain Archer, one of the first humans to ever be transported in thanks to the transporter being used in Enterprise. They still preferred shuttles because it was mostly used for moving cargo. Humans weren't exactly their primary transport thing, not like Next Generation or Voyager or Deep Space or any of the rest of the stuff. So this is early days of transport technology. Now, where else have we seen Scott Bakula materialize and dematerialize, Paul?
Quantum Leap.
Damn right. Damn right. Because here's the thing, Paul. I have a theory. I have multiple theories. In fact, I have about 15 of them, so I can pick any one and have as much fun with it as I want. That as he is being transported, there you go. You have the GIF on screen. He's getting transported away. As that's happening, while he's being rematerialized, he is subjectively experiencing time and space as Sam Beckett from Quantum Leap. So his brain is being reorganized and is actually hallucinating through time all of these many Quantum Leap lives and realities. And that's why, as he's jumping, the next jump might be home. But in this case, what we didn't realize when watching Quantum Leap, home was back to being Captain Archer on the Enterprise, which Dean Stockwell, his good friend, would later on appear in the show also.
So here's the idea. We're going to watch Enterprise up to the point that he gets transported. And then we're going to stop it. And then we're going to watch all of Quantum Leap. Because Quantum Leap ends... Like, we can cut out the actual ending of Quantum Leap because the actual ending is very depressing. We'll cut that out and then we'll continue on with Enterprise.
Yes, and we'll watch Enterprise all the way up to the episode, I think, towards the end of season 1, that Al from Quantum Leap, not Stockton, I want to say John Stockton, he played for the Utah Jazz. The actor's name, who I'm confusing with a basketball player right now, Dean Stockwell. Thank you, brain. It came back to me. Dean Stockwell was both Al in Quantum Leap, but also then appears in Enterprise much later on. Yeah. So they did share a screen.
I like how you also linked a third movie to this.
Are you talking about Inception?
No, I was thinking about not the movie, another TV show to this.
Oh, go for it.
The Battle.
Battlestar?
Yeah, Battlestar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot that I sent Paul like my and when I say mental notes, I mean they came from my brain, but are also mental, because this one I went in about 15 directions. So yes, Dean Stockwell, who was also a Cylon in Battlestar Galactica. Oops, spoiler warning if you haven't watched to the point where that's all realized. The show is very old now, but you could conceivably say, actually, Paul, you can make any of this up that you want, because once you consider he's a Cylon. He could have been running tests to learn more about humans, and that's why he was showing up in the hallucinations of one Sam Beckett. So that was a mental test. I also had another theory that I want to throw in, Paul, since you've opened the door for me to be completely weird.
Sure.
Is that actually Quantum Leap is really Inception. So Inception, about experiencing dreams within dreams within dreams within dreams. Well, the Sam Beckett character had gone so far into the dreamscape and down the dream rabbit hole that he was jumping up layers and levels of dreams, trying to come to the point of consciousness. Al was actually not real at all. That was a complete figment of his imagination that was being brought from dream to dream. But his totem was Ziggy, Al's little communicator, talking to Ziggy. You have to be a Quantum Leap fan to know what I'm talking about. But if you've watched Inception, think of Ziggy as the totem, the spinning top that Leonardo DiCaprio used. And that's why Al was holding it the entire time, keeping it away from him so that he could never know what layer of dream he was really in.
Yeah. I now want to add to this as well. Just because this is a fun one. Quantum Leap. Al is actually the architect of the Matrix and is currently running tests on different realities on your man.
Scott Bakula is he's pre-Neo.
Yeah. He's essentially being sent through different versions of the Matrix. Kind of like, patch 1 and then patch 1.1 and he keeps getting patched through things because like they keep talking about how you have a perceived image of yourself, kind of thing, and they're trying to essentially mess with that received kind of image of yourself by putting him into other people's bodies.
I love it.
Just an idea.
I think this one we could someday, Paul, without a camera on us, we're going to talk about this at length.
Yeah, we could definitely link Quantum Leap to a lot of theories.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure that, and this is why we can't do it on. Just so you all know, folks, and it's obvious we're internet nerds on YouTube right now, but in our real lives, we're still like that. I guarantee you, me and Paul are going to lose about 3.5 to 4 hours of our life making sure that every movie that we can mention can be linked to Quantum Leap in some way.
Yeah,
because I think Quantum Leap might be the Kevin Bacon of movie fan theories.
I think so as well. I think it is one of those ones that you can definitely have a link to a lot of stuff. So
it's true. Nice one, Paul. Cool. What's up next?
Let's go on to a Hear Us Out favorite movie here. That is Event Horizon, Infinite Space, Infinite Terror. Event Horizon is about a ship that goes missing, which is it has a certain experimental drive that should be allow it to jump very quick distances across the universe. It is a drive that creates a black hole. It turns out that black hole brings you into hell. And then, obviously, the movie persists with the ship is possessed by demons and all that kind of stuff. The theory is that Event Horizon, the ship building or creating a black hole to travel through time, is linked with another film, a Disney film, called The Black Hole.
I love it.
This is the one that has Maximilian, the psychopathic robot, and other people who are just kind of crazy. The reason that these are linked is so in the movie Black Hole, they are going towards a black hole to go through it to find out what's going to happen. When they eventually do, it is a hellscape. Like, that's the only way to describe it. Like, the image online right now, which Patrick will see in a couple of seconds, is literally them entering the black hole of this swirling red horribleness.
Yes.
And then it ends with Maximilian on top of a mountain that's full of fire and lava. Like, there's no possible way that these two aren't linked. That obviously when you go through a black hole, you just end up in a hell's like universe. And that's what happens.
And Paul, to say that I love this so much because finally it would make sense of Disney's darkest, most, like a personal favorite of mine. We've talked about it before on the channel. I love Black Hole because it's such a misfit for Disney. It's weird, it's offbeat, it's dark. It doesn't make fully sense. It's way too adult in some weird ways to have cashed in on the Star Wars craze that it was trying for. And also a friend of mine had the Star Wars or the Black Hole lunchbox when they were a kid, and I really, really wanted it. This makes sense. This puts Black Hole in a space that I can understand. Of course, it happens to be a Disney film that unfortunately had been written around the same black hole idea that ended up being fully expounded upon in Event Horizon. Because that black hole was, in fact, leading to hell.
Yeah, it makes sense that, so Event Horizon is the first instance, it's the first event within the Event Horizon black hole universe. And then later on, the theory is that, from my theory anyway, is that the main character, I can't remember the name of the captain of the black hole ship, but he's insane.
Yeah.
And the idea is that essentially, he's obsessed with black holes. The idea is that he's just been called to and read up about the Event Horizon event, or like incident, and is now obsessed with black holes and trying to get there, kind of thing. So yeah.
And remember the final scene, because it's not just Maximilian with extra arms standing on top of that hell rock in the black hole. He's actually enveloped the captain inside him. They have become one in this demonic, I am now the ruler of Hades, weird super killer robot Satan man. Like, it's impressive for Disney. I'll give them credit
Yeah.
for that. But it makes sense. I like this theory because, like I said, it puts Black Hole in a whole new light, but one that actually fits and suits it,
It makes it a horror movie. Like,
which is what it should have been all along.
that's exactly it.
A mismarketed horror movie.
Yeah, because there's no possible way other than that, like with that whole ending.
Yeah.
Because you could also have, because it's a black hole and because it's heavy gravity and stuff like that and has time dilations, that the linked minds of the captain and Maximilian is the entity that possesses the event horizon. I just made that up right now. So
I love where this is going, dude. I'm almost afraid to ask us to move on because the next line could be even more in depth and creepy.
no, let's continue on with the next one, kind of thing, because that's another one that I can keep linking things together, over and over again. So the next one is our last one, which is it is your one, which is the. Do you want to introduce it?
Oh, is this by any chance Total Recall in The Matrix?
Yes.
Because The Matrix got mentioned earlier on. The Matrix is prime picking for linking to stuff. But the reason I went down the Total Recall route is I actually think that Neo and the whole Matrix experience is a Total Recall experience.
Yeah.
Hear me out,
Okay.
to use our trademark. Paul, I'm assuming you're showing. Sorry, I have a delay on my side, so I'm assuming you're showing the big thing.
Yeah.
I badly photoshopped Keanu Reeves' face onto Arnold Schwarzenegger's face, and I'm really sorry. There wasn't a whole lot of time. That in itself, just that image is creepy enough to qualify as the scariest thing we've talked about. But imagine Keanu Reeves' Neo in the Total Recall world has gone to Recall, which, if anybody hasn't seen Total Recall, Recall is a company that can send you on a holiday or an adventure in your mind. So you never have to leave. They implant memories. Now, they implant memories, and if it goes wrong, it can completely mess you up. You can end up, as they keep saying in the movie, lobotomized. But what you could also end up is trapped inside permanent memories being placed there. And what they started advertising in Total Recall was, don't just go for a trip to Saturn. Don't just go for a trip to Mars. Go on an adventure. The line in Total Recall, I think, was, what's the one thing that's always the same about all your holidays? You.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, there you are. So what we can do is we can send you on holiday and make you into a sports superstar, or make you into a millionaire playboy, or make you into a secret agent, which is what good old Doug in Total Recall did. But in case of Neo went for a trip where he would be the ultimate God savior figure for a whole simulated world. And that's why the Matrix inside the Matrix inside the Matrix, and everybody keeps coming up with new theories as to whether or not the Matrix is the Matrix or the whole thing was created to be whatever. I can answer it all. What came before the Big Bang? Total Recall came before, everybody. That's how you solve the chicken and egg in the Matrix. You make it all happen in a Total Recall accident.
You rest your case.
Did that BS pass the detector?
No, I think it's a great it's a great one. I think it's a really good one because it does make sense in the world that you're like, yeah, that he it starts off a very similar way where it's a normal person. So it's obviously he, like, you know, after the Total Recall implant has been done, that he just thinks he's normal, and then the adventure starts going mental, kind of thing. So I just want to bring your attention to the photoshopped Keanu Reeves on Arnold Schwarzenegger's face. Look at that. That is gorgeous. That is gorgeous, everybody. Gorgeous.
Can I say that was done in record time? Also, Neo seeing, code, the fantabulous green code of back in the day. What do you think that is? Like, that's the people at Recall trying to get in and electronically plant memories. That's him seeing them building things. He's not seeing code. He's seeing Recall memory code building in his mind. That's how he starts controlling it, because as they're injecting it into his mind and giving him memories, he's actually consciously controlling it. That's how Neo became Neo. That's how he became the One.
That's a cool one. I like that.
There you go. Yeah, let's move on in case I can't come up with anything more convincing than that.
Well, that's it. That's all our ones that we've got listed. So which is we have a couple in the thing. The Rock is James Bond. So, is that the movie The
Oh,
Rock?
that must be the Sean Connery,
Yeah.
The Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie The Rock is James Bond. Yeah, I like yeah, that like
I
definitely makes
get
sense.
that. I think I might have even heard some of that before. That Sean Connery is imprisoned. He was James Bond, but then he was imprisoned in The Rock, and that his character in The Rock, Sean Connery's thing, he just doesn't mention. They say that he had an SAS secret agent style past, and it was actually James Bond. That one kind of adds up. Actually, I like that one.
Yeah, which is I also do like the idea. There's another one where James Bond is actually a time travel movie, where all the James Bonds are different people taken from a certain time.
Wow.
That's why they're all kind of like old school gentlemen kind of people. It's because they're actually
Right.
not from that time.
Wow.
So that's the idea. So like, yeah, so Pierce Brosnan is a 1950s guy who's been brought forward in time to act as the 007 kind of agents, and that's the idea. Is they keep plucking people before they're before they die, and then putting them into the or into the 007 kind of thing. I had a theory about the James Bond one, which I didn't bring up, which is the Jet Li film, The One.
Yes, where he ends up fighting himself.
Yeah, and the idea is that every time he kills himself, the energy of himself gets split between James Bond. The James Bond film is just each version of James Bond's throughout the parallel universe, and we get to perceive it. So it's linking the fact that the one movie is essentially showing us what James Bond's films are. They're essentially just different parallel universe James Bonds.
It'll never fly, Paul. Multiverse movies are so last year.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, James Bond multiverse is out. But yeah, that's an interesting one, because instantly when you said The One, it made me think of Highlander.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
which then made me think of Sean Connery again. And there's definitely something to be said about if you spend some time with Sean Connery movies, much like Burt Reynolds and Sean Connery played Sean Connery as opposed to the character that was written in the script.
yeah.
You could conceivably make some good stuff about him being a time jumping person taking over different roles and different. He is the real Sam Beckett. So secretly, Sean Connery was the one that Al couldn't go and find in Quantum Leap.
Yeah, he's the one who escaped.
It explains why the Spaniard had such a heavy Scottish accent.
It does indeed. All right, so thank you very much for watching. If you have any more with your fan theories that either you have yourself or fan theories that you just like that are out in the ether, please comment down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell as well, and it really helps us out. And then on top of that, we should comment down what you think of our fan ones. Do they already exist? Have we just somehow done fever dreams where we just claim them as our own, or are they unique? Let us know in the comments down below. But
yeah, perfect, Paul. I would love to hear that I've plagiarized things by accident, because it's very likely to have happened.
well, I like the idea that I've come up with this thing separate, and then it turns out that there's 100 other people who've also come up with it, and I just like the idea of just kind of doing the whole Charlie Day string thing by myself, and then finding out that there's several other people who are also string theory people.
There's a whole multiverse of those string people. There's an infinite number of universes with Charlie Day style strings happening, where we're all coming up with the same but slightly different theories.
Well, you know about the Hero Saves fan theory.
Oh, me and you were the same person?
Yeah, that I'm the past version of you.
I would have thought that you were the future version of me, but you're right. It has to work the other way around.
I guess if I'm the future version of you, then is it that?
I just wondered how I became dumber.
Oh,
hey, I don't know if that was an insult or a compliment to whom. But yeah, so you all know, we are not the same person. Or are we? Love you, Paul. Love you all.
All right. I've been Paul.
And I've been Patrick.
And we've been Heroes Out. See you next time.
Bye-bye.